Hello and welcome back once again to the massive YouTube Iceberg. Today we'll be continuing on with Tier 9, the Satan tier. Thank you to my supporters on Patreon, like 80 Constant, Joshua Muller, Hollowed, The Biggest of Men, and Papper G, as well as everyone else who supports me there. Now, let's get right back into the Iceberg. But first, have you ever done a Google search for your first and last name or your email address? You'd probably be pretty shocked to find out what people can see about you. Strangers can find out your address, your date of birth, your relatives, and so many more things that you'd probably want private, or at least I would. Data brokers will take your information and sell it to scammers, and even more malevolent people who might want to target you. That's why I've been using Aura, the current sponsor of today's video. It's a service that can show you just what information data brokers can find out about you, and automatically submits opt-out requests to any service you've used before. Doing this not only helps reduce the amount of annoying spam emails you'll get, but it also protects you from hackers who want to access your account, as well as other miscreants and ne'er-do-wells. AT&T recently revealed that 73 million customer records have been released on the dark web and other shady areas of the internet. They recommend that if you're part of that 73 million, you should use strong passwords, consider credit freezes and fraud alerts, and monitor your account activity. And Aura does exactly that, completely automated for way cheaper than doing all this other stuff separately. If I was compromised in that breach, I wouldn't even have to worry, because Aura is always on. You can go to aura.com/swagwin to start a 2-week free trial, linked below in the video description. Thank you again to Aura for sponsoring this video. Where the Dead Go to Die is a feature-length, hour-and-a-half-long animated horror film created by James Creamer, also known as Jimmy Screamer Claus. It was released back in 2012, but was re-uploaded to YouTube in 2020. It's commonly regarded as one of, if not the most disturbing animated films ever released. Well, I definitely believe that's a bit of a hyperbole on the internet's part. There's definitely more disturbing stuff out there, especially since this film doesn't really take itself too seriously. I can definitely see where they're coming from. This film, despite looking like it had a similar production cycle to Food Fight or Rhapsody Street Kids, relies heavily on the disturbing topics it's at least attempting to portray, including but not limited to child murder, child molestation, bestiality, sexual assaults, and physical abuse. The reason it looks as bad as it does is because Jimmy Screamer Claus is the sole director, writer, producer, editor, and animator of the film. He did pretty much everything in this film all by himself, outside of voice acting and music, which is honestly the most commendable part of this entire project. He had no real education or training for animation, and animated everything in Maya all by himself, with help from YouTube tutorials. He's even said that a good chunk of the film was mocapped, with a fucking Xbox Kinect. The film is truly impressive, at least in that sense. However, the film's plot just kind of strikes me as edginess for the sake of edginess, rather than any form of, artistic merit. And according to rumors, Jimmy Screamer Claus says all the surreal and graphic imagery has no deeper meaning behind it, and is just there because he liked it. Of course, that's an unsourced piece of information from the IMDb trivia page, but I don't know, I just liked how it was phrased. The plot of this film is very scattered and hard to decipher, but essentially it's an anthology of 3 stories with the connecting through line being this demonic dog named Labby, who convinces children to commit heinous crimes against humanity. Interestingly, the film was heavily inspired by nightmares Jimmy had when he was addicted to LSD and marijuana, which he attributes the psychedelic visuals of the film to. I'm really conflicted about Where the Dead Go to Die, as while it is undoubtedly unique and every part of it feels, purposeful and all that, it's also some of the most heinous and edgiest schlock you could possibly watch outside of just straight up turning on a snuff film. I don't have a source for this last bit, but the film supposedly inspired Mr. Pickles, the cartoon on Adult Swim about a demonic talking dog and a young boy named Tommy. Just seems kind of true. There's a lot of similarities there. Jimmy Screamer Claus's newer stuff is actually pretty interesting looking, so go check out some of that stuff if you're for some reason interested. Driving Through Hell is a video uploaded by Hassan Shupa in 2015. It consists of dashcam footage of someone driving through a forest fire in most likely California. Around 2015, there was a record-breaking amount of forest fires in the state. A record that has since been broken repeatedly in the past 8 years, but I'm sure that environment's fine. Anyways, this video and other videos in the driving through a forest fire genre, which, trust me, this isn't the only one, have an almost unreal vibe. Obviously, doing this is extremely dangerous, and they probably shouldn't be doing this. You know, the car can only protect you so much, but, like, it's so cool, though. Like, I don't know, it just seems like something straight out of a movie. It actually does look like they're driving through hell, with only smoke and fire surrounding them. Well, at least the comment section confirms that he can breathe because of air conditioner, so that's nice. There's not really a whole lot to this one beyond that. It's just, I don't know, a cool visual. Emergency.mp4 is a video uploaded in 2016 by YouTube user Svartalheim. This video was found by the popular YouTuber Shrouded Hand as part of his video 5 Disturbing Petite Tube videos. Let me play you a bit of it just to see what we're working with. Describing this video as literally as I can, it seems to be someone wandering through an empty, poorly lit hospital while fire alarm blares in the background, coupled with the cameraman's heavy breathing. That's all there really is to this video, but for some reason it just feels so creepy. Maybe because of where it was found, you know, I'd imagine finding this on PetiteTube myself would be freaky as all hell. The obvious explanation, as many have said in the comment section, is that a fire drill was going on in the hospital, and a security guard, who stayed behind to make sure everyone got out, decided to pull out his phone and record this video to make it seem creepy or paranormal, like he's getting chased through an abandoned hospital, or maybe it's supposed to seem like he's a patient who got left behind or something. The video is so simple and lets the viewer decide what is actually going on, which is pretty clever, I'd have to say. Kirk Anger is a channel that was created in 2017, and that's a work of unfiction, or an ARG, or whatever you want to call it. It follows a protagonist named Kirk Anger, who seems to be severely mentally unstable, and is making videos from some kind of a mental hospital. As per the story of the channel, Kirk seems to be a stalker, more specifically of a woman named Amy, and the series touches on things like sexual assault. I'd recommend watching the first part of Scare Theater's Strange YouTube channel's episode 7 to learn more. True forced loneliness is a term and community that began on YouTube in its early years, around 2008 or so, I'd say. It's pretty closely related to the incel movement that rose popularity in the early 2010s, which of course means that doing any form of research into this entry is kind of really depressing, in all honesty. This is the first time in the series I've had to consult the Incels wiki for information, so that's a good representation of how deep in the trenches we are. The movement was started by YouTube user Bill Greathouse, aka Bill1224601, who's this middle-aged dude who would vlog about his struggles with isolation and, well, loneliness. Most of his videos have since been lost, but he would describe what he's going through as a true forced loneliness, or TFL for short, as he feels that his loneliness was forced upon him by society, and not any personal lifestyle choices he's made. This would turn into a specific vlogging group consisting of him and a couple of his friends, with a website at trueforcedloneliness.com. Later on, it would become a commonly used term across YouTube, and TFLer would become pretty much synonymous with incel, though it's a term very specific to YouTube. I don't think any other websites really use the term. Watching these videos will lead to one of two experiences. One of which is just feeling completely depressed and sympathetic after watching one. A lot of the time, these videos will be made by older people who have just kind of given up on not only dating, but also just making any form of connection or friendships with real people. And in those instances, you can't really do much but feel bad for them and their life circumstances, even though some might argue that they did it to themselves. The other side of these videos are the ones that make you feel like disturbed. It's no secret that people from these communities often have less than ideal views about the world, and especially relationships and women. A lot of them feel entitled to affection just because they haven't gotten any yet themselves, and feel spite and hatred for anyone who doesn't give it to them, or people who have developed relationships themselves. And of course, a community existing online of these people should, in theory, be a good thing, since at least they'll be able to find solace in the friendships they form with each other. All it really ends up being is an endless cycle of negativity and self-hatred, especially when the most hateful individuals are usually the loudest. Now, again, that's obviously not every person in this movement, and the TFLers seem at least a little less hateful than the usual incels. And I don't even think anyone in this movement has ever committed any shootings or anything like that, though a lot of them do sympathize with other incel mass shooters, which is still a really bad thing to do. One popular member of this community, Baraka TV, had apparently taken his own life by setting himself on fire, because he was just that miserable from being a TFLer. So I think communities like this probably shouldn't exist, in my opinion, since they're just kind of bad for both the people in them and outside of them. But, you know, at this point, it's kind of too late to just wish they didn't exist. It's kind of an unfortunate facet of both the internet and the YouTube landscape, even though the true forced loneliness movement is admittedly pretty damn obscure, and it definitely, you know, deserves to be down here in tier 9. It did pave the way for incels. Kenny Veach, perhaps better known online as Snakebit McGee, was a vlogger on YouTube who joined in 2012 and was active for a short amount of time in 2014. His content would mainly focus around hiking and cave exploration, as that was his favorite hobby. He also had other videos about inventions he created, and he was just a generally very creative and active person. On October 18th, 2014, Kenny would upload a video called M Cave Hike. In this video, he finds himself in a canyon in the Nevadan desert, supposedly around Area 51. He explains that earlier he found a cave around the area that was perfectly in the shape of the letter M. However, he didn't have a camera on him, so in this video he sets out to go find it again, but by the end of the video he realizes he's lost it. In a comment on an unrelated video, Kenny expounds further on the story. He explains that he usually enters every cave he finds as soon as he finds it. However, this one in particular really freaked him out. When he went to enter the cave, his whole body began to vibrate, and the vibrating got worse the closer he walked towards it. He was actually too scared to even enter it, which explains why he decided to come back with a camera. Many YouTube users, both in replies to this comment as well as the comment section on his own video, encouraged Kenny to go back and search for it again. Some even went as far to call bullshit on his whole story. So on November 10th, 2014, Kenny set out to find it one last time, and he never came back. A few days after he left, he was reported as missing by his family and girlfriend, and a search operation was started by local authorities. They found a cell phone belonging to him near an abandoned mineshaft, which was in an unrelated cave, and that was pretty much it. The search lasted several weeks, and to this day, it's unknown where Kenny could have gone. Due to the location, conspiracy theories surround this story like a moth to a flame. Some believe he got abducted by aliens, because of course it's Area 51. And others believe he was kidnapped by the government, because of course he was, it's Area 51. Other people think he faked his own death for whatever reason. My personal theory is that he took his own life out there, as he reportedly quit his job to try selling his inventions on Shark Tank, which wasn't very successful.
Myself, and I'm going to let you know just what I do, what I am, and how much I enjoy life, and how I go about doing that. I am an artist, I am an adventurer, and I am an inventor. And I take all those three talents and I combine them and I just create. So one of my inventing things that I love to do is just come up with things in my head and then make it, you know, put it to use. Here's one little item I did. This is actually very cool. I'll show you that real close. It's very heavy, because it used to be a steel bar, just a steel bar, and I bent it into a circle and cut it, and I took yarn and I wrapped it until I got all those colors like you see there, and then I took fishing wire and now watch this. So that's pretty cool, huh?
His girlfriend also said that he suffered from depression, and when asked if he would ever take his own life, he said that if he did, they would never find the body, which of course they never did find the body. Either way, it remains a mystery that will probably remain unsolved forever. Abscess drain surgery on a horse, gross, is a video that has been deleted. This is another obscure-ass video that for some reason has only ever been referenced on the Fine Bros YouTubers React, more specifically their Try Not to Move challenge, except this time it's censored. What the video actually entails though is fairly self-explanatory. Abscess drain surgery is basically when a doctor takes an abscess on the skin, which is in layman's terms a really fucking huge pimple, and drains it of all its pus, and then it just comes pouring out. Yeah, it's really gross, as the title would suggest, and probably even worse when done on a horse, since those fuckers are huge and their bodies probably contain way more pus than the average humans. This wasn't the only video of someone doing this. If you really want to see some fuckers deflate a horse, then, you know, you now know what to look up. If you swap the A and W in any YouTube URL, you'll be brought to this channel, called AWTCH, or AWTCH, or AWTCH, or however the hell you're supposed to pronounce that. This is one of those channels that solely exist to fuck with YouTube's layout. Nothing should appear weird at first glance, but you scroll down and you can see the channel's videos. And then below that you can see the channel's videos. And then the channel's videos. And then the channel's videos. And then the channel's videos. A similar effect is replicated once you get to the bottom of the video sections, where you can see the channel's featured channels over and over again. I honestly have no idea how they did this. It's probably the result of a proxy or extension or something like that, I'd assume. It also used to have the links things at the top of the channel page go all crazy. Very strange indeed. Oh, and also, the only reason it works on every YouTube video is because the channel's username is AWTCH, and when there's no watch in the URL, I assume the rest of the URL gets ignored. Which would mean it would just take you to youtube.com/ouch. The same thing happens if you replace the watch in the URL with, like, Swegwin. It'll just so happen to take you to my channel, which is obviously because I hacked YouTube. Deer explodes when hit by train is kind of an insane, but also descriptive title. This is another entry that I won't be showing here, though it's pretty easy to find by searching it up on YouTube. It's literally just this dumb fuck deer standing on train tracks and looking directly at a train, not moving until it eventually hits them. And it almost feels fake the way the blood splatters on the window, like it's a horror movie or something. It should feel uncomfortable to watch, since it's literally animal gore, but for some reason it's just kind of funny to me. And I don't even mean that in some, like, edgy middle schooler way. It's just a very comical video. But I'm not showing it, because no. Hose Leg is a commercial.
Hey, you like chicken? I do. Take this.
No, I don't know what it means either. Gary's Realm is another entry that I have literally no idea what it could be. I did some looking and didn't find much. I found this channel, Gary Warmerdam, with the help of a friend who seems to be this guy who vlogs about various conspiracy theories. While his channel isn't super standout among the crowd, he does have a video called Realm Evidence, where he films the sky for like 9 seconds. He actually has a lot of videos related to realms, so I thought maybe that's what that could be. Potted Plant turns this one down though, and the Gary's Realm channel he remembers apparently no longer exists, although he also doesn't remember a single thing about the channel. It also wasn't a Reddit suggestion, as Gary's Realm could be found on the very first version of the Iceberg, so I'm completely lost on this one. If you guys have any ideas on what content Gary's Realm could possibly hold, please let me know. Monica Cook is a stop-motion animator and filmmaker on YouTube. Her work is very creative and interesting, especially for being released so early into YouTube's lifespan, but also pretty creepy too. Let's take a look at each of her 3 videos on the platform. First is Deuce, released in 2010. Then there's Volley, released in 2011. And then Milktooth in 2017. Like I said, all 3 of these are really unique and I really like the art style. There's not a whole lot more to say about this channel though. Moving on. Kurat 963 is an ARG channel from 2016. The channel's content was sporadic and rather hateful. Not like in the person who runs this channel is a piece of shit kind of way, but more like the videos seem to actively hate you, the viewer, with messages that kind of seem like the self-deprecating stuff that a schizophrenic person might hear from the voices inside their head. That actually seems to be the leading theory on what this project is supposed to be depicting, so it makes sense. Nexpo did a video on this, so go check that out if you're interested. Intelsat 708-215-1996 is a video uploaded in 2019 by YouTube user Fred V. This video needs a bit of context to understand completely, as I'm sure not everyone is familiar with what it depicts. Intelsat 708 was a satellite developed by the American company Space Systems Laurel. Back in the 1990s, the satellite was planned to launch into Earth's orbit from a rocket developed and launched in China. However, when launching in 1996 from the Jieshang Satellite Launch Center, the rocket failed, resulting in it veering off course horizontally and crashing into a nearby village. The resulting explosion was gigantic, and there was, according to eyewitness accounts, a crowd of locals gathered around the gate, separating the village from the launch base. And not a single building in the village survived the event. However, the Chinese government would tell you that a mere 6 people died that day, although many Western media outlets estimated a much higher amount, including death counts of hundreds of people. It was actually broadcast live as it was happening to American television, which is one of the first times something like that had ever happened in China, which is actually what this video is. It's 22 minutes of raw, unedited footage of the event, including the actual launch itself, as well as cameramen exploring the destroyed village. I believe it's so low down because this video had a surprisingly low view count before it was uploaded to r/deep into YouTube. For whatever reason, this tragedy is somewhat obscure, and not many people know about it. Though I'd imagine it had something to do with the fact that the Chinese government did everything in their power to cover it up. And I guess they were more successful with this than something like the Tiananmen Square massacre. Which is honestly impressive since this was, again, broadcast live on American television. One last thing about this entry is that for some reason, 18 minutes in, it turns into this quiz show. Yeah, no, seriously, it just seems to be some kind of a joke or parody, maybe, but the tone is just completely different coming off of footage of a tragedy that killed people.
And in order to prepare you for your trip to China, we would like you to take this simple multiple choice quiz. Remember, there is only one correct answer for each question. Ready? Here we go. This is a picture of A, a creature found in nearby hills, B, dinner, C, a Hughes technician. These guys should score a point in horseshoes, A, in 30 to 40 minutes, B, when Mabuhay launches, or C, next leap year.
Super strange. Pingu 2019 Gore was an entry I honestly thought was going to be at least a little more substantial. Essentially, it refers to this period of time where if you searched up Pingu 2019 on YouTube, you'd get these videos featuring gore animations of Pingu. Obviously, Pingu is a series that is meant for young children, so these videos would be marked for kids. This meant that they would be subjected to fucked up animations featuring their favorite animated penguin character. Now, these gore animations, or animation I should say, as in one singular animation, is the Pingu parody made by Lee Hardcastle, which is a crossover with The Thing. It's actually a pretty good animation, but definitely not suitable for kids. Lee Hardcastle is someone I've already covered in this Iceberg. You know, he made the video with all the Simpsons getting massacred. These re-uploads have since been taken down in YouTube's endless efforts to counteract Elsagate content farmy YouTube kids content. Help with Advice is a disturbing channel that was created in 2011. They've uploaded around 30 videos between 2011 and 2014, and were initially thought to be some sort of an art project, though it's most likely not that upon closer inspection. Their channel description reads as follows: "These videos show some of what is being done to us. We need help in getting this stopped against us." So what does this mean? As evidenced in their content, it would appear as if Help with Advice is being ran by a couple, perhaps, who believes themselves to be being stalked or tortured by the United States government. Their most popular video, Clip Throwing Up While Being Tortured, shows a woman waking up late at night and throwing up in bed. The description reads, "After being beat on by an electronic signal for over 3 years, body couldn't take it anymore. Was tortured and pounded on by a pulse, which we also have on film. Still being hurt while throwing up." If you would like to see more of what is happening to us, you can go to Facebook at Save Keys. You can leave a message for us. Farm couple being tortured to death by DoD defense systems to cover up public corruption case. Farm couple needs help against black special ops team who broke special code of conduct against innocent civilians, men, women, children, and animals. Any and all help would be appreciated, thanks. So yeah, that definitely doesn't sound like something coming from someone of a sound mind. The person who run this channel truly believe they're being targeted and physically hurt by the government. In their videos, they constantly show symptoms of extreme illness, both mental and physical. They say that they often cough up blood, have sharp pains in their bodies, swelling in the eyes, flesh-eating bacteria, extreme weight gain and weight loss, and many, many more symptoms. A lot of this is explained in a 33-minute video on the channel, simply titled Explanation. This sort of reminds me of Bob Hickman, who had severe infections all over his body, which he believed to be the result of God torturing him rather than the government. But still, it's a pretty similar situation. Other videos include footage of dead animals on their property, which I believe they're trying to say that the government either placed there or that those animals belong to them and the government killed them. So what could be the explanation for Help with Advice's channel? Because obviously they're not actually being targeted and tortured by the government, right? My theory is that they're on drugs. Like, literally. I'm no expert, but I'm thinking that a lot of those health problems are either directly caused by maybe methamphetamines or something, or a neglect towards their health due to said drugs. The latter I feel is especially true for the pained and dead animals, and many people agree with this theory too, as there's a video where they have extremely dilated pupils, which is a common symptom of meth users. There's also another video where someone claims that they were smoking on camera. I couldn't find that video, but they were also known to delete videos, so who knows. Whatever the case is, they stopped uploading abruptly in 2014, with no sign of them since. What could have happened? Well, they might have gotten arrested for drug possession, definitely a possibility. It's also possible that they lost access to the internet somehow. And finally, they also could have died, like from overdosing or something. There's really no way of knowing for certain, since there are no other social media accounts connected to this channel. Silly Cone Baby is a channel that seems to be on this iceberg as a stand-in for the reborn doll community on YouTube. For the uninformed, this community mainly focuses around the creation and sale of these hyper-realistic, lifelike baby and toddler dolls. These dolls are usually made out of silicone, hence the name Silly Cone Baby, Silicon Baby, get it? This channel specifically has been around since 2011 and remains consistently active to this day, showing off and selling these strange dolls. I don't think it's an entirely controversial view to say that these are creepy as hell, because they really are completely lifelike. The target demographic for these are middle-aged women, as it would turn out. not trying to stereotype or anything, but that definitely seems to be the wide majority of people making these videos. Some collect them just to have them, and others go as far as to roleplay with them, pretending they actually are a real baby, and taking them outside, shopping for them, you know, everything you would do with a real baby, except it's not real. Some use these dolls as coping mechanisms for if they've lost a child through a miscarriage or something like that. They're also sometimes given to patients with dementia to help them through the illness. Putting it that way makes these seem a lot sadder, doesn't it? That's why I'm a little hesitant to go super in on poking fun of these, even though it doesn't seem like the healthiest coping mechanism of all time. Still though, these definitely can sometimes look really creepy. In late 2008, or I suppose more specifically 9/11/2008, a channel would fly onto YouTube, created by an anonymous man who called himself the Yellow PP Monster. This guy was fucked in the head. His main gimmick was that he would go into public bathroom stalls, whip his little PP monster out, and proceed to spray down everything in the stall besides the toilet. He would do it everywhere he could. Gas station bathrooms, IHOP bathrooms, Barnes & Noble bathrooms, movie theater bathrooms, heavy metal concert bathrooms, and so on and so forth. Needless to say, he was pretty quickly banned from YouTube, and probably many other public places as well. His lasting legacy is that he ended up getting featured on Tosh.0, which for those of you who don't know, was a TV program that showed weird videos from the internet. Some older viewers might be surprised to know I need to explain what Tosh.0 is, but the sooner you realize you're old, the better. Thankfully though, the Yellow PP Monsters videos have been preserved for us in their original, beautiful 240p quality. Not on archive.org or somewhere normal like that, but its own fucking website. At yppm.spastics.net, we get a beautifully piss yellow HTML site with a convenient link to every video he's ever made. Although my only problem is that it's kind of a gross and unhealthy piss yellow. Like, this is piss from someone who doesn't drink water enough, but you can tell in his videos that he is very hydrated. My favorite feature of this website though is that they have a full page screenshot of the Yellow PP Monsters channel from early 2009. It really sends home what YouTube and the greater internet culture was like back then. Please subscribe to my channel, and let's make this the #1 most subscribed PP channel on YouTube. Feel free to message us with any questions, comments, letters of praise, or hate mail. Love, the Yellow PP Monster. This channel description is funny because it implies that there's more than one PP channel on YouTube that he's competing with, which, I mean, that could be true, who knows. Oh, and there's also some fun facts here too. Country, United States, of course. Occupation, urine specialist. Interests and hobbies. Going pee. Movies and shows. Pee Wee Herman. And music, the Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine because it's yellow, I guess. Me personally, if I was the Yellow PP Monster, I would have put like Jimmy Urine on that part. Would have fit more thematically with what he's all about, but hey, I'm not the urine specialist here. This screenshot also includes the channel's comments back when those were still a thing. Burnmaker01, who seems to have someone's mugshot as his PFP, comments, "Great fucking videos, just don't come to LA." Harvey101107 with the default PFP comes in with the "So you're the asshole that can't aim." Explodes says, "The YouTube staff will be obtaining your internet protocol address and reporting you to local authorities, while they will cross-reference you to any complaints from these facilities. Sooner or later, you will be prosecuted and have a felony or criminal record." Then Juki Jenkins comes in and says, "Explodes doesn't know anything." The New Game Source says, "You're an asshole. Good thing I only piss/shit in the grass behind these places." Finally, the most recent comment as of this screenshot is My Truck's Bigger 33, who says, "Hey, nice videos. Maybe you should attack something other than a bathroom once in a while. Like maybe somebody's cat, or maybe a house." I fucking love early YouTube comments. Oh yeah, this is one I've been waiting to talk about for some time, and I'm sure some of you have been excited to hear me talk about it too. You know, Tier 5 had the Closing Logos community and Greeny Fathom. Tier 6 had the Go Animate community. Tier 7 had I don't think Tier 7 had one of these, and Tier 8 had Barney errors.
852412. You just changed the code! Ooh. Wait, don't touch that knife. Alright. No. Yeah, that's right.
Those all kind of had a connecting through line of the same kind of people participating in these communities. It's something kind of unspoken and unexplainable, but anyone who's familiar with these things just kind of gets it intuitively. And I don't even really want to write it off as just autism, because while that's definitely what it is, it's definitely a specific breed of autism. Pooh's Adventures videos are Tier 9's iteration of that kind of entry, and I think is probably the strangest one so far. Well, actually, I don't know, the Barney errors were pretty damn weird too. For the uninitiated, Pooh's Adventures was a trend that most likely started on DeviantArt in the late 2000s or early 2010s. Essentially, they're these hypothetical animated movie remakes that people come up with that just insert various fictional characters into the film. These most often take the form of people just photoshopping various fictional characters into the official movie posters. Let's look at an example of Pooh's Adventures of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Everyone's seen this movie, right? It's just like I remember it. Who can forget when Winnie the Pooh and his friends, along with Ash, Pikachu, Misty, Togepi, Brock, Ariel, Flounder, Sebastian, and Melody traveled back to Bikini Bottom, and they joined SpongeBob and Patrick on a quest to find King Neptune's crown. This wiki article, on the Pooh's Adventures wiki of course, with over 75,000 pages, also doesn't seem to mention the fact that there are other characters on here, like Mewtwo and Bowser Jr., and C-3PO and R2-D2 and Azula and the fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And the Pooh's Adventures wiki does the same sort of thing as the Grainy Fathom and Go Animate people, where they make wiki articles pretending these are real movies. It's gotten to such a point that a few years ago, this very poster appeared on Nickelodeon accidentally, since fandom has obnoxiously good search engine optimization, and fandom wikis will usually appear at the top of results pages as a result. This SpongeBob one is far from the most egregious one, although one last thing I'd like to say about it is that the single comment on this wiki page is just some person saying, "Though Steven Hillenberg is no longer with us, he's not forgotten." Which, I mean, pretty good sentiment, I guess, but I don't know, it's just kind of a funny place to memorialize him. Another example I found on this wiki is Pooh's Adventures in Oliver and Company. This wiki article seems a lot more in-depth, even featuring a transcript of what Pooh and his buddies could possibly be doing in the film. The transcript seems to be literally just taking the script of Oliver and Company and inserting dialogue from all those other characters into the scene. Man, Kingdom Hearts and its consequences have clearly been a disaster for the human race, because these Pooh's Adventures things are that concept taken to its natural extreme. I don't really understand why they picked Winnie the Pooh to be the main character of this whole thing. Like, I don't know, if it was like Mario, or Sonic, or SpongeBob, or Mickey Mouse or something, you know, there's something more universal. It would still absolutely make no sense, but I could at least see it a little bit more. Of course, that's not to say that sometimes other characters don't take the spotlight. Like, for example, Meet Wad's Adventures of Goodfellas. Hey, that one's not even oh my god. Oh my god! Now, you might be questioning at this point, what the hell does any of this have to do with YouTube? Sure, they're all over DeviantArt and fandom wikis, but that's to be expected from that kind of stuff. Well, some members of the Pooh's Adventures community are dedicated enough to their craft that they recreate their transcripts in Windows Movie Maker by downloading clips from whatever the fuck and smashing them together. Here's what that usually looks like.
Long live the king.
You mind if I pause it for a second?
Sure, go ahead.
Be right back.
Come on, get on.
Okay, I got the jumbo so we can share. Were you just picking your nose? No, I had an itch on the inside.
Like why? They put so much effort into these videos for such little payoff. It doesn't really add anything to the movie, and as you could imagine, a lot of these videos face copyright takedowns like literally all the time. It's for this reason that Pooh's Adventures videos find their home in YouTube alternatives like AWTCH or Rumble, and even file hosting sites like Google and archive.org. You can also just keep them up on YouTube if you edit enough shit into the video so that YouTube bots don't detect it. One of the things that surprised me about Pooh's Adventures is that this is far from a recent thing, and is most likely older than those other communities like it that I mentioned. The community has apparently been around since 2008, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense how they've built up that much fucking content, if you could even call it that. There are a ridiculously large amount of these edits found all across the internet for basically any movie you can think of. It's just such a giant use of energy for such a strange purpose and product. All in all, if I happened to be that one Squaresoft executive who met with a Disney executive in an elevator and pitched Kingdom Hearts to them, I would look back on it like Oppenheimer looked back on creating the atom bomb. This one is definitely a weird one. According to most sources, Squidward Fan 1982 was a member of the YouTube community, who I guess would upload videos about SpongeBob. I mean, that makes sense to me at least. Maybe he Let's Played SpongeBob video games, or did reviews of SpongeBob episodes, or something like that. The earliest mention of Squidward Fan 1982 on the internet that I could find was in 2015. A comment left on a DeviantArt post of a depressed-looking Squilliam reads, "That is not Squidward. Is Squidward Fan 1982, aka Nick Rapunzel, who shot himself on 6 December 2010 on Monday." Everyone seems to be confused about what the hell Hugo Munchmix Able 93 is talking about. Nowhere on the internet does a Squidward Fan 1982 exist prior to this post. No video archives, no news articles, no forum posts, no obituaries, no nothing. Just this one person, who just so happened to mention the passing of a YouTuber 4 years after it happened. On the same day, an edit was made to the talk page for the deceased YouTubers page on Wikitubia, the fandom wiki for YouTube, and yeah, Potato ASDF is back, asks for Squidward Fan 1982 to be included. He notably talks with every letter capitalized, just like the original DeviantArt comment, and that's pretty much it. Looking at Hugo's DeviantArt account, I couldn't find anything else about Nick Rapunzel, aka Squidward Fan 1982. I could find him oversharing about some girl he met at school. He posts a picture of her and says her full name and the school they go to, as well as complaining about how she has a boyfriend and how he wishes it was him because she's so hot, but, nothing about fucking Squidward Fan 1982. I have two theories about this. One is that someone with a similar YouTube username actually did take their own life, and Hugo simply misremembered it, which isn't the most unlikely thing in the world. On the other hand, there's a pretty solid chance that Hugo made it up as some part of a hoax or urban legend. In either case, it spread like wildfire. The Squidward Fan 1982 is regularly listed on any icebergs that it could fit into. A deceased YouTuber's iceberg, a lost media iceberg, and even a SpongeBob iceberg. It's another entry similar to medieval found footage, or 14/?, where it's the sort of thing that you just kinda have to put on an iceberg, which was always a funny and interesting category of iceberg entry in its own right to me. And maybe Squidward Fan 1982 actually was a real person who took their own life, in which case I can only feel sorry for their friends and family. But I'm going with bullshit on this one, and if I'm wrong, then I guess I'll be dragged to the pits of hell when I die. Hey, editor's note section. I'd like to add something interesting I just now noticed about this entry. This Potato ASDF guy made a lot more contributions to the deceased YouTubers page than just Squidward Fan 1982. A lot of contributions. 85 to be exact. And there are a lot of entries that, much like our favorite deceased mollusk fanatic, I couldn't find any record of anywhere. Crush Dog 2002, Felipe Caldera 24, Miss Kai XX3, and Mario Xbox 4018, to name a few. However, a lot of these contributions are real. Xgoth Emo 99XX was a contribution he made, and that was the account belonging to Jamie Rodemeyer, a teenage LGBT activist who took his own life in 2011. The Sean 2395 was an account belonging to Sean Miller, a 17-year-old who passed from health issues related to the heart problems he had. 49er235 was Matt Ferrante, who was a 16-year-old YouTuber who took his own life in 2009. And hell, even Red Frenzy 64, who was, from what I can gather, a member of a super obscure sect of YouTube called the Total Pokemon Island community. This community, as you might imagine from the title, focused around making these parodies of Total Drama Island where all the characters are replaced with Pokemon. The announcement video that he had passed is 11 years old. It only has 1,500 views. These people's passings are all very sad, especially given that a lot of them are under the age of 18, so it does give credits to this Hugo Potato ASDF guy. You know, it feels a lot less likely that they would throw in a couple of made-up names, especially when their other contributions show that they have some quite comprehensive knowledge of deceased underage YouTubers. Which, I mean, strange talent, but I guess there's gotta be someone for everything. However, it's also still not impossible that Squidward Fan 1982 is made up. I still think it's weird that even though this one channel in particular has been in the public conscience for quite some time now, still nobody knows anything about it. Matter of fact, why is this the one that reached past this Wikitubia page? Why do people talk about this one so frequently? Is it because there's more evidence of Squidward Fan 1982 somewhere out there that people are just neglecting to talk about? I think I've hit a dead end, but please tell me in the comment section if you know anything about this guy. I've been seeing this name thrown around Iceberg charts for so long and I have no idea what to make of it. Glowing Eyes in the Inky Gloom refers to a video by YouTube user Orban Oz, uploaded in 2009. It's 4 minutes of this grainy black and white footage of what seems to be a cotton mill set to this distorted music. I'll play a clip for you just to see what this video is like. Pretty unsettling, right? Especially for 2009 standards. This video still has barely cracked 50,000 views, which makes it, you know, a real hidden gem on YouTube. It's for this reason that no one can identify what the song is, at least from what I can tell. Comments are disabled on this video, and no one has really mentioned the song on Reddit. And there's even a video called Glowing Eyes in the Inky Gloom Reversed, help me identify this song. In this video, they explain the situation, giving details about the song, and then ask people to help them identify it. And the video's comments are disabled, so I don't really know what their strategy is here. Nevertheless, this video remains to be a pretty weird one. Inactive Creator's channel is sort of a weird one. For a while, if you searched up Inactive Creator's channel, you would get a YouTube channel of the same name with no subscriber count, and just the YouTube logo as their icon. Then, when you click on it, it would take you to the YouTube Creators page. The explanation for this one is pretty simple. They probably just migrated an old account to a new one, and as a result, going to the old URL simply leads back to the new page. Not much to speculate on here, honestly. God Left Me Unfinished. This one is 44 seconds long and features someone screaming over a robot rolling around on the ground. It turns out that this is literally just a clip from a Filthy Frank video, so I'm not really sure why it's down here at all. John Bacon, better known online as Popcorn10, is a 3D animator on YouTube who is most well known for being a part of Cool 3D World, another weird 3D animation channel we've already covered. If you're familiar with that channel's work, then this should probably be very familiar too. If you need a refresher on the style, then it would seem as if Popcorn10's most common place to post his animations would be Vine, judging from the Vine compilations he posted to his YouTube page that were posted soon after it was announced that Vine was shutting down. I guess he had to store it somewhere. One last thing I'd like to say about this entry is that Cool 3D World is apparently credited for the ham fight scene in the new Smiling Friends season. I gotta say, I do love to see internet animators breaking into the actual TV industry, even if it is just for a short cameo role. County Bluff was an ARG that started in 2016, though it wouldn't get any level of traction until 2 years later. Apparently, whoever was running this channel started leaving these weird voicemails for people around 2018, though I don't think they were really leaving it for random people, since a Twitter user named @straightaway was the one who posted it, and they seemed to be very connected to the project. The voicemails contained distress signals that would come from a plane or something, as well as coordinates to the Malaysia Airlines flight, as in the one that disappeared mysteriously. I mean, you'd think these ARGs would pick a more obscure, mysterious event to work with, but, you know, whatever. The voicemail also contained messaging that implied the people on the flight were attacked by aliens, because, like, of course. The Twitter account eventually connected to the County Bluff YouTube channel, which had a weird 2-year-old video about something happening on April 18th, 2018, which is my birthday, so, yeah. And it was also like a month away from the Twitter post, so that's probably more important. Surprisingly, County Bluff actually still posts to this day, like pretty regularly. I gotta give this ARG credit for still continuing even after the craze has died down. It's fairly admirable. If you want more info, I'll leave a video by Shanotic in the description. The YouTube applaud button was a feature they added around 2021 to random videos. This entry was probably a lot more interesting when this Iceberg was made. However, since I'm still here 3 years later, I can safely say they fully implemented this feature as super thanks. There's a thanks button at the bottom of every video, and with it you can donate money to YouTubers in order to get your comment highlighted, similar to what you can do in live streams. That's pretty much it. You should totally use this feature, by the way, especially on my videos. Let's Kill Barney is a video with 26,000 views from 2008. If that doesn't tell you how deep we are into the iceberg, I don't know what will. This video was uploaded by Kendra Petley, and you know, I think I'll just roll the clip for this one.
I hate you, you hate me. Let's team up and kill Barney. Oh no! In a 2x4. No more purple dinosaur.
For some reason, there are some videos on YouTube with 0 likes or 0 dislikes. A popular example is the music video for Living My Life by Alicia Rushala. This video, until recently, would not accept any likes. You could click on the like button, but for some reason it wouldn't register on the official like count. Nowadays, they seem to have fixed this bug, but the dislike ratio is still fucked beyond repair on this one specific video. Well, actually, it was repaired by removing dislikes altogether, but, you know. I believe this entry refers specifically to these 2 videos by a YouTube user named Daniel, called This Video Has 0 Likes 100% Real, and This Video Has 0 Dislikes Trust Me. It would seem they figured out how to get the glitch to work. Basically what they did is the exact same thing as the negative likes and dislikes, which was spamming the like or dislike button repeatedly. YouTube patched out this glitch at some point, but by changing the visual for it. The video still probably has a ridiculous negative amount of likes or dislikes. Like I said though, this was fully patched out sometime between 2021 and now displays normally. There are some videos on YouTube with no views. And I'm not talking videos like the ones on PetiteTube with 0 views, but rather the view count just doesn't show up at all. And I'm also not talking about the videos like that one Hardware video we talked about a few parts back where nothing shows up. You can still see the upload date and all the comments and everything else you would expect to be able to see. Except the view count, it just shows the upload date there and nothing else. A couple examples of videos like this are things like a video called How to Improve Your Street Ball Defense with Main Event Whaley Dixon by Sports School Plus. Well, actually, a lot of the videos on this channel have no view counts. Very strange. There's also a handful of Google Doodle videos by Google with no view count. This one at least makes a little sense since these videos are meant to be played on the Google homepage and not YouTube. And also, it's uploaded by Google, so they can just fuck with the YouTube layout however they see fit. But the sports school one is just weird. Notably, you can sort the videos on this channel by view count, so it's not that these videos don't have view counts, YouTube just doesn't want to show you it for some reason. There's also a Peep Show clip by Acorn TV, which has a similar thing going on. There's actually a tutorial on how to do this called How to Disable View Counts on YouTube in 2022 by Internet Tips. Let's take a look.
About 3 years ago, YouTube removed the feature to disable your view count from your videos. So let me spare you a long and hard search for this feature. It is no longer available and you will not be able to hide your view count from your viewers.
Wow, this video is kind of insane. Making a tutorial on anything that's 20 seconds long and it just says, yeah, you can't do this, is honestly raw as fuck. But anyways, according to this guy and many others online, this was a feature that YouTube removed around 2019. Not sure why they removed it, but I'm also not sure why they even had it to begin with. Like, likes and dislikes I can understand, and comments make sense too, but views? Very strange feature, and I can see why they took it out back. It's pretty telling that there's only like 3 examples of people using this that I know of. The Sad Tale of Bad Breath Joe is a dumbass animation. This 1 minute long animation by Dimitri Kozma follows the eponymous protagonist Bad Breath Joe, as he notices that everyone around him is grossed out by his smelly breath. So what do you think he does to remedy this? Maybe brush his teeth more often? Or buy some mints? No, he pours sulfuric acid down his throat, which erodes the bottom half of his face to be all skeletal and gross. What an idiot. In the description, he says that this video was a funny way to show how much we would do for acceptance of society, which I guess is a solid message, but the actual animation it's tied to is so dumb that the message doesn't get across at all. This is pissing me off more than it should. I think I understand the cartoon reviewers who get angry when SpongeBob episodes are too mean to Squidward.
I am not the sweat on this head before you. I am not the headband or the glasses that you see. I am not Facebook. I am not even the treadmill diaries. I am not the time or the distance that I just accomplished. I am not the style of smiles that I portray. I am not the laughter that I invoke at times. I am not the escrows I keep. I am not the listings I have. I am not a number. I am not the friends I keep. I am not even my family. I am not even my children. For I just am. And so is this wink.
What you just watched is I Am Not Facebook by Goof100, uploaded in 2012. This video is of a man who is clearly not Facebook, and not even the Treadmill Diaries either. I went into the description of this video for more context or explanations, and the man who uploaded explains that I remember regretting this the moment I uploaded it, and 2 years later, Jessica the curator asked if she could use it for something. I said sure, remembering my regret, and then she said, "Congratulations, you're now famous." I was like, yeah, whatever, and then 3 years later, PewDiePie called me a penis. But yeah, he did do that. What a dope video. YouTube is not currently available on this device, as surprisingly enough, an unlisted video uploaded by the official YouTube viewers channel in 2017, which also has a hidden viewer count, although the view count isn't the interesting part. This video is exactly a minute long, and as a static image of the text, YouTube is not currently available on this device. So what is this used for? Well, immediately the answer would seem to be obvious, right? This video displays when YouTube isn't available on the device you're using. Explains itself. However, my question is, how would this video display if the device you're using can't run YouTube? Like, oh yeah, you can't watch any YouTube videos except this one, which is here to tell you that you can't watch any YouTube videos. It's like when people learn a single sentence of a language just translates to, I don't speak this language. I don't know, it's just kind of funny to me. Interestingly, if you're watching a video in a playlist and you take out the text after the V equals and before the ampersand, you'll be redirected to this video. Why? I have absolutely no idea, especially since YouTube is definitely available on the device I'm using. Very strange. Wetlook Cosplay Princess is a fetish account. No real way of sugarcoating that. Essentially, the gimmick is that this person dresses up in cosplay almost exclusively of anime girls, complete with this strange anime girl face mask, and gets in the bathtub fully clothed and just kind of splashes water on themselves. There's nothing really super explicit going on, which I guess having a specific fetish that isn't necessarily NSFW makes posting on YouTube really, really easy. They do have a Patreon, but I couldn't identify anything about them, including their gender identity, which I would assume to be female based on the name Wetlook Cosplay Princess, but sometimes they refer to themselves as a femboy, so I don't know. Also, no, I'm not exposing who I'm following that follows that account. That would not be nice. I Did Not Hack Sesame Street is a video I've already covered. It's a video uploaded by Mr. Ed XWX in 2011, where he claims he was not the person behind the 2011 Sesame Street YouTube channel hack, and how he's an oncest YouTuber. If you don't remember, the basic overview was that the Sesame Street channel at one point had all of its thumbnails changed to porn, and in the description this Mr. Ed XWX guy was most likely framed as the perpetrator, by God knows who, and for God knows what reason. Not much to talk about here that I haven't already talked about earlier, so if you're interested in that whole debacle, go watch Tier 8 Part 2. Center Core Nevermore is a video uploaded by Jim Wilson in 2008. According to the description, as well as the text at the beginning of this video, it's an animation he made on an Amiga 500 with 1 megabyte of memory in the early 90s with a friend's music, recorded to VHS tape. So yeah, this is very authentically retro, for lack of a better term. Early 90s is pretty fucking old, especially for computer animation like this. Although I'm just gonna say it outright, this video is a goddamn masterpiece. I went into it expecting it to be like a shitpost on some level, but it has this surreal, psychedelic atmosphere that's even unique to this day, much less for the time period, despite the imitators that would arise years later. You know, I feel like a lot of entries on this iceberg end up being me trying to plot out the family tree of all the major weird animation channels on YouTube. Which honestly isn't really something I was super invested in going into this series, but now I'm completely invested. Like shit like Banjo Hero and Center Core Nevermore, and probably Bart the General laid the groundwork for the surrealist animation that now exists on YouTube. And I don't know, the lineage you can derive from that is really interesting to me. If I was pretentious and annoying, I could cross my arms and turn my nose up and say, these are all just ripoffs of X or Y older animation and thus have no artistic merit. But I think one of my favorite things about, like, art just in general is the fact that it's all inspired by something else. You know, all art is derivative. Which is why I was never really a huge fan of using the term ripoff unless it's literally plagiarism. I'm sure Center Core Nevermore was also inspired by something, which in turn was inspired by something else, and the cycle just keeps going until we reach, like, cave paintings. The creator of this art piece, Jim Wilson, actually didn't even do animation as his main thing, and he kinda just made this on a whim. In his channel description, he lists himself as a semi-retired radio broadcaster, over 40 years in the business. Yeah, he was an older guy when he wrote this channel description in the late 2000s or early 2010s. You can probably guess where this is going. In 2015, it was announced that Jim Wilson passed away at the age of 72, after a long life of quote-unquote ruling the airwaves of southern Texas, as this blog Media Confidential describes. Which is definitely the coolest way I've ever heard the act of being a radio personality described. The legacy of this video lives on though, and I don't think YouTube would be nearly the same if it wasn't for this animation, and the others like it on his channel. And that's about it for part 2 of Tier 9 of the massive YouTube iceberg. This part was one of my favorites to do so far. Pooh's Adventures is one of my favorite little sects of the internet. It's just so bizarre and out there, and in a weird way, I kind of respect their dedication to the craft, considering most of these pages on their wiki are made by like the same couple of usernames. I'm glad this one was a little more chill than the last couple, despite being, you know, the Satan tier. If you're one of those people that follows along with the chart in the description, you'll notice I did cut one specific entry from this video that seemed like kind of an insane tone shift to be talking about right next to fucking Pooh's adventures, even for this Iceberg. I'll cover it in the next part, which seems to be where this tier gets really fucked up and disturbing, so look forward to that, I guess, you freaks. Thank you once again to my Patreon and Ko-fi supporters. Really helps out. Also, I've said it before and I'll say it again, but every bit of support helps, even if it isn't just monetary. I'll see you all next time when we finish up tier 9.